Alright, this week on Model Aviator, you the viewer asked for it, so you're going to get it. Hangar and shop tour coming up. So right off the bat, we wanted to share something. We know that last week, the 15th of September, was Battle of Britain Day, so we are representing for all our friends in the UK, but we know that this week is going to be a very difficult week for all of you as you lay your queen to rest. So please know that Heidi and myself have you in our thoughts and our prayers. So somebody in the comments specifically asked that we show the picture wall. So we're going to kind of start at this end of the hangar and kind of bounce all around. Basically, what we have here is just some antique radios. That's actually the same kind of Craft Sport Series radio that I started with. This is a very, very old, that's a 1950s radio before they actually had gimbals. Those are momentary switches. And there's just an array of other things. Got a John Wayne Pilot, an old Heathkit radio, a little control line airplane that a gentleman that built that used to come into a hobby shop that I worked at. And then as you get down and just kind of scan the wall, you'll notice there are quite a few different things to just kind of decorate the place up. But these pictures of planes and pilots, these are, for me, this is what the hobby is all about. I mean, I love to fly by myself and practice things. I love the aviation aspect as much as the next person. But the people, the relationships, the fellowship, that is really the meat and potatoes of the hobby. And if you're not experiencing that part, in my mind, you're kind of missing something. So all these people are people that I've either taught or mentored or just buddies that I have flown with. And there are some pretty special people. This picture is a picture of my stepfather, Bobby. That's a Carl Goldberg Easy Breezy that he built. This is a picture of me with my very first cadet, and boy have I come a long way. This is the 85-inch Edge from Extreme Flight. There's a lot of special people. I can't go through them all, but just know that these are great memories, great people, and I just want to pay tribute to all the folks that have meant so much to me and the hobby and will keep continuing to add to this. Okay, so it's worth noting that Heidi and I actually devote the entire upstairs of our house to hobbies. So a lot of it has to do with the RC airplanes. Some of it has to do with some of the crafty other things that Heidi is into. And we've got one room that's kind of hangar slash storage, if you will. Check something out over here. And you'll notice as we come by, we got the Lucky Gallon Corsair sitting here. We just kind of put them wherever we can. And there's Miss Piper. She's along for the tour. Just brought you in here basically to show you this. This is where Heidi does pottery and a number of other things. But this bandsaw comes in very, very handy for the hobby. It's a cheap Harbor Freight bandsaw, so you wouldn't be doing 2x4s or 2x6s on this thing. But for balsa and light ply and the kind of things that we use for the hobby, that thing's great. Okay, on to the next room. This is the room that is devoted kind of half to storage, half to hangar, maybe a little more hangar. Anyway, check this out. And we'll start right here in the corner. This is our Park Zone Albatross. We have a really good episode, I think, on that one, where it was actually a project episode where we took this thing from stock and did the flying wires. Heidi did an awesome paint job on this thing. As you can see, it is a really good looking airplane. If you haven't checked that episode out, check it out. This is one of my favorite park flyers, I have to say. And next to it is a turbo timber box. There's actually not a turbo timber in there. We kind of nuked that thing, so I saved it for the parts. So that's actually not a usable airplane, but I've got some servos and maybe a motor and a board that I could use for something different in there. Right next to it is the Skywing Edge 540 fuselage, and of course we've got the wings over here. That's a fun 48-inch 3D plane. It is outfitted with all of the things that are offered by Super Tim Hastings at Northwest RC. Just ordered everything for that airplane from him. Fit perfect, worked out good, great airplane. So like a lot of people in the hobby, I have gone mostly electric, and I love the electric stuff, but I also love the nitro and gas stuff. I have 2 nitro planes left in the hangar. This is one of them. This is a Sig Cadet Mark I. It's powered by a Sato 56 Golden Knight. Beautiful engine, and it sounds even better than it looks. We actually have a video where we did a fun flight with this airplane. And then above it is one of my favorite airplanes in the hangar. That is a Balsa USA quarter scale J3 Cub. It's powered by a Sato 150, which is way more power than it needs. And a good friend and mentor to me in a lot of ways, Mr. Willie Dickerson, who is, I think, 90 years old now, built this airplane 35 years ago. You'll notice in the cockpit, you got Bert and Ernie. Really interesting story about Bert and Ernie. His granddaughter was a wee thing when he built this and said to him, you know, Papa, it needs to have pilots, so take my Bert and Ernie and put them in there. And he did, and when he sold me this airplane after trying to talk him out of it for probably about 5 or 6 years, he said Bert and Ernie came with it, and I don't intend to ever take them out. To me, this is still Willie's Cub. Of course, that is our Durafly Mark II Spitfire. Love that airplane. So glad they came back out with that. Such a beautiful plane. Great flying park flyer. We have a review episode on that if you want to check it out. Next to it is one of my favorite foamies, period. That is the FMS 1400mm Pitts S2B. That airplane is an amazing flying scale aerobatic airplane. We have a review on it as well if you'd like to check that out. Really, really love the way that airplane flies. It is so scale. It is the best flying Pitts I've ever flown, bar none. Next to it is our Challenge Thunderbirds F-16. This is an E-flite 70mm Thunderbirds F-16, and as you can see, it has been rode hard and put a low at. This thing has been crashed. We will continue to really push the envelope with that thing. We actually have 2 of these. This is the one that we're going to put at risk for your entertainment. Should be fun. And next to it, you will see the fuselage. This is a Hangar 9 5th scale Spitfire Mark 9 that I will be building soon. Really looking forward to that. This is our Flightline RC F4U1D Corsair. It is done up in the markings from VMF 214, the black sheep. This is from March of 1945 when they flew off of the USS Franklin. There was actually a really bad fire on the Franklin, and quite a few of the black sheep unfortunately lost their lives, and a lot of their airplanes were destroyed. So we actually are kind of paying homage to those men that lost their life with VMF 214 to something really silly. And it is named Harry's Revenge after my father. My father was a Marine and fought on Iwo Jima. He was not a pilot, but he was injured on Iwo Jima and received a Purple Heart. So we just thought Harry's Revenge would be a great name for a U.S. Marine airplane from 1945. This is our Piper Tri-Pacer. We actually turned that into a Tri-Pacer. You can see some pictures here of our final work. This was an airplane that my brother-in-law Randy owned, and we actually did a project video on this if you'd like to check it out. This started life as an E-flite Pacer ARF, and we did this to it with some help from a buddy. So check that episode out if you haven't. Right up above it is, of course, our new Thunderbirds 70mm E-flite F-16. Just like the one that we're going to be risking for your entertainment, but we're going to try to keep this one in one piece. Above it is the fastest airplane in the hangar. This is the long discontinued composite E-flite Habu 32X. This thing is powered by an eFlux RC 8S system, and we have actually gotten 169 miles an hour after a pretty screaming dive on the GPS with this thing. That baby is fast. Above it, one of my favorite foamy sport jets, the Freewing Avanti S. We got a great episode on it if you'd like to check it out. That is a superb EDF. Above it is our Freewing A4M Skyhawk. Freewing sells the Skyhawk. It actually starts life as an E or F model, the Echo or the Super Fox. We changed ours to an M because my brother Howard actually flew that airplane for VMA 331 in the Marine Corps, and you will absolutely see an episode on that. And right next to it is our FMS Super Cub that we have changed quite a bit to make it Greg Miller's Javron Cub, and we have an awesome project episode on that where we talk about Greg, show you his channel, and you get to see this thing doing a lot of scale bush flying, so check that out if you haven't seen it. Last thing in this room, we got some stuff hanging on the wall. This is our Jim Ryan Bearcat that we found in a swap meet. Amazing story about that airplane. We've got an episode about that and some other things we picked up at the swap meet, and a cool interview with Jim Ryan, who actually designed this airplane and has some other pretty cool kits out on the market even today. That is our UMX MiG-15. That's another old discontinued airplane that we found at that same swap meet. And this is the pretty new and pretty awesome F-18 Super Hornet 50mm from Hobby King. They sent that to us for review, and that thing is fun. We're going to be doing a couple of challenges with that thing here pretty soon that we think you'll get a kick out of. Okay, moving on. This, by the way, is a pull-up bar. As you can tell by how absolutely jacked I am, I use that all the time. Don't judge me, okay? Now, my buddies get a real kick out of this when they come over. They laugh a lot, they take pictures, they send it to their wives, I think, to make them look better. Anyway, when we said that the entirety of the upstairs was for hobbies, we weren't joking. Even the bathroom's part of the hangar. Check this out. I'm going to stand on the toilet just because it's kind of funny and it gets me out of the way. Featuring in the tub a Park Zone ME109. That thing flies like an absolute turd. I really don't like it. So we're going to do some challenges with that. And if we don't completely tear it up, I think John from Just Wing It is going to take it off our hands. He actually likes those for some reason. Right next to it is the JTA Innovations Game Bird. That is one of the best 3D profile foamies that I have ever flown in the 32 to 33 inch size. That thing's phenomenal. And now, Heidi, if you want to back up just a little bit and check out down here on the floor, this is probably the release from this year that I am most excited about. I think it and the Beach 18 from E-Flite, if it flies good, are going to be kind of a dead tie for me for best release of the year, because both of them come from an era that is very, very rarely modeled and never modeled in foam. This is the Durafly Gloucester Gladiator from Hobby King. We've got a really good review on that. If you haven't seen that, check it out. That is a phenomenal looking and flying airplane, and what a piece of history that you just don't normally get an opportunity to put in your hangar. And this, featuring on the sink, this is the Arrows Husky. This is the original 4S Arrows Husky. We have an episode on it where we did a review. This is a phenomenal flying airplane. I would say that next to the Carbon Z Cub, the new Carbon Z Cub, this is by far the best sport scale bush plane out there. It flies awesome. I'm too lazy to take it apart because the wings are kind of a pain to take off. So we leave it like this, and that's its place in the hangar on the bathroom sink. Okay, so we're finally moving into the main hangar room. This is the room where we do all the work on the airplanes, where we shoot all of the stuff on the bench that you see on the episodes, where we keep a lot of the airplanes. This is where the magic happens, and we'll start right above my head with this little UMX Carbon Cub. That thing's long since been discontinued and it no longer flies. It belonged to a good friend of mine. This is Mr. Gordon, and his pictures are here beside his airplane because Mr. Gordon has passed away. He's one of the people that I taught how to fly, and just a pretty special guy, so we thought we'd put his picture there. Okay, so to my right on the floor we have the center section and wings to that Hangar 9 6th scale Spitfire Mark 9 that we're going to build. Right above it, got some wing bags to a couple things. You can see these are the wings to our new Carbon Z Cub from E-Flight. That is an awesome airplane. We just did an episode on it. What a plane. I can't believe it took me this long to get one of those. So glad I've got it in our hangar. Right below it is our Flightline RC 1.6 meter Spitfire Mark 9. We actually featured that in our very first scale flight video. That is a wonderful, wonderful flying airplane. Absolutely love that thing. We've got about 150 flights on that thing, and you can see the condition it's in. That just goes to show you how good it flies. A lot of Spitfires are kind of rode hard and put away wet, but this one flies really good. So moving further down the wall, we'll start up top. That is the Hangar 9 Sopwith Camel. It's got a 61-inch wingspan, so it just does make what's considered to be giant scale. What I love about it is it fits in the Explorer together. That airplane's a pain to take apart. You don't want to do that if you can avoid it in any way. Picked that up at a swap meet for a couple $100. Gentleman that flew it on a Sato radio, but I converted it to electric, so it's got an E-Flight Power 46. Runs on two 3200 milliamp 4 cells. It is actually a 4-cell airplane. We run those in parallel just to double up the batteries to add some weight to the front to help us balance this airplane out. It's got a lot of ballast up there. You are definitely going to see an episode on this. We just have flying wires left to do, and we'll be done messing with it. And next we've got our Hangar 9 Carbon Cub SS. This is a Flying Cowboys tribute plane. We have a great episode on it. If you want to check it out, where we tell you everything that we've got in it. It's a wonderful flying airplane. And the cool thing about that episode is Corey Robin himself, the founder of the Flying Cowboys, actually did our intro for us. Super, super good episode. Great flying airplane. Below it, we have our 3D Hobby Shop 75-inch Edge 540 version 2. This is a phenomenal flying 3D plane. Callie from Callie Graphics did all the graphics on this thing. What a wonderful, wonderful flying 3D plane. It'll fly better than I can fly it. And if you come in on this pilot, Heidi, if you can come around here and check it out, that is actually the pilot from a Flex Innovations big RV8. And it came unpainted, and Heidi actually painted that pilot to match the airplane. I think that's pretty cool. This is one of my favorite scale planes in the hangar. This is the Hangar 9 quarter scale Super Cub. And of course you can see with the Cali graphics on it, we have turned this thing into a Super Cub 180. That is a conversion that a lot of bush pilots do. They take a 150 horse Super Cub, slap a 180 horsepower engine with a little different thrust angle and a different mount, and the thing can absolutely haul some stuff. You can actually get a legal gross weight with this thing of over 2,000 pounds, which for a Super Cub is amazing. But in Alaska, when you're hauling hunters and gear, and sometimes they're kill underneath the wing struts, you need all the hauling power you can get. If you come around here, Heidi, this thing actually has a pretty detailed cockpit. We got our pilot in there. You are definitely going to see an episode on this airplane. It is amazing. We got the 8-inch air top wheels. That's the biggest bush tire that I could get my hands on. Pretty amazing airplane. And then below that is another amazing and large airplane. That is the Extreme Flight 85-inch Edge 540TX. And this one runs, it is electric, it's a 12S airplane, and runs on an X-Power 40cc motor. And the way their 40cc motors work, if you put the largest prop allowed and run maximum amps, it actually gives you 50cc power. So this airplane weighs about 18 pounds, and will absolutely haul the mail. It is a wonderful, wonderful 3D plane. And then peeking out from underneath it, it's so big we can store an airplane under it. That's our little UMX Timber X. That poor thing has been rode hard and put away wet. We have a review on it and a challenge episode with it. You should check those out. That thing is entertaining. So behind me is the wall that you see in the background a lot of times when you're watching the videos. And we're going to start kind of down here. This is the OMP Hobby Super Decathlon we've got new in the box. We're going to build that. We have an array of pictures. This is an awesome Blue Angels commemorative picture from their 35th anniversary from 46 to 81 that my lovely wife Heidi got me. And starting right here, that is a Carl Goldberg Gentle Lady that I have converted to electric so that I don't have to use a high start. Above it is Mom's little 150. We actually have an episode on that. That is an old E-Flight 250E ARF. Great flying little airplane. Flies so much better than it should for its size. Right next to it is the Great Planes SE5A ARF. Bought that thing, kind of a hot mess, and then Heidi and I worked together to restore it and make it look awesome. As you can see here in the pictures, it's a really pretty airplane. Flies great. You will see an episode on that. And then finally, right above my head is our new Extreme Flight 48-inch Edge 540T. You will see an episode on that. Right now my 3D's a bit rusty. I gotta get a little better before I'll be happy with what I can do with that one for you, but you're gonna see it. And of course on the bench right now is the Hobby King Savage Bobber. Hey, I managed to say that without cracking a joke. Almost. Anyway, yeah, we're doing a build on that, so you'll see a build video, a review, and a flying video of that. Come over here, we got our toolbox. Very, very blessed. We've accumulated a lot of tools that make this hobby much, much easier. There's a lot of resources here in this box and around it that make this hobby much, much easier for me. Got our transmitter box there, flight box there. You can't see it, but the wing to the Gentle Lady is behind it, and we have kind of a wing rack here. These are the wings to our Flying Cowboys Tribute Carbon Cup, and Heidi, if you want to slide just a little bit. Here we've got our little UMX Night Vapor, some other UMX airplanes, the new version 2 UMX Pits, the old version 1 with our gear on top. If you haven't seen us land that thing upside down, you need to check that part 2 of the UMX Pits video out. That was very entertaining and very hard. Next to it is the UMX Waco. This is the wing to our 1.6 meter Flightline Spitfire Mark 9. That's the wing to the Cadet, one of the 2 Nitro planes we still have left. These are the wings to our quarter scale Super Cub 180 and the wings to the 1.6 Flightline Corsair above that. Almost forgot to show you how we store a lot of things. These Tupperware things are great. We've got spare wheels, we've got spare spinners, there's Velcro and manuals in here, paints in here, and underneath the bench we've got more storage. There's a lot of spare airplane parts here. We've got a little compressor underneath there. That comes in super, super handy. Now we can get to the last part of the hangar. This is a closet that we turned into a very, very useful place. And I would like to point out the super cool axial prop. What a okay, so last part of the hangar, we turned the closet in this room into a pretty useful space, and I would like to point out one of the beautiful things about everything you've seen here is that it's all climate controlled, and short of the lights in the bathroom part of the hangar, everything is LED, so there's nothing that is going to fade the colors as far as the covering or the paint on the foam airplanes, so that's pretty cool. Pretty blessed to have that. Got a really cool prop. That's an axial prop made by Zor. They make a lot of cool stuff. And when you come in here, we've got some of the parts for the Hangar 9 Spitfire. These are the servos we're going to be using. You see a scale down here, and if you pan up here, Heidi, you can actually see these are a spare set of retracts and another couple of scales. What we do with those scales when we actually do a review is we put one wheel on each scale and add the weights up. So when we show you the weight of an airplane on our setup page, we're not just copying what the manufacturer says it weighs, we're telling you what it actually weighs. That's pretty significant, I think. We have a pegboard full of all kinds of parts. I can't even begin to tell you what all this stuff is, but there's a bunch of stuff here. And then we have 3 4-port chargers. We've got them plugged into separate places, so believe it or not, we can charge 12 batteries at one time and discharge 12 batteries at one time. That is significant. That makes trips to and from the field much easier to get ready for and wind down from. Love having all those chargers. Got some extra parts up there. Those are extra parts for that Hangar 9 Spitfire. Bought all those simply because it is discontinued and you can't get parts for it. So while they were available, I got some. Here is something that is kind of neat that I wanted to share with you folks. These are the Century fireproof safes, and that is what we keep our lipos in. And the beauty of these, you get the fireproof, not the waterproof. The waterproof has a rubber seal. That actually would turn it into a bomb if something were to happen. We got Miss Piper in here helping me. But the cool thing about these safes, they are about $20 a piece. So yes, I have a lot of money in these 10 safes that we have, but the beauty of it is every single lipo could cook off in this safe. If something crazy, just unprecedented were to happen, and not a single flame will get out of here. It will smoke your whole place up, but it will not burn your house down. So I think that's the best way to store lipos, and we're really glad to have that. Even if you have a lot of lipos like I do, and you need 10 of them, you know, that's a couple $100, a little more than that. That's pretty cheap insurance to guarantee that your packs don't burn your place down. More storage. That's our DX6. This thing, we use it more than anything. Every park flyer, every ultra micro in the hangar, as well as the ones that we get from other people to review, that we put in a transmitter and then give back to them. It goes. This thing's got like 100 airplanes in it, and probably 75 of them we don't even have here anymore. But it gets worked pretty hard. We've got charge leads in here and a box that just dropped with who knows what in it. This is sandpaper and sanding blocks, spare props, more spare wheels, spare props. Very ladylike pilot. Yeah, there's a reason she's not in anything. And we got some more decals on the wall here. And that's pretty much it. You tired of being ignored? Come on. Come on. Miss Piper has had enough of being ignored. We hope you've enjoyed the hangar tour. We want you to know that you are part of the Picture Wall, the YouTube community. We've made so many friends. We appreciate each and every one of you that give us these ideas, ask us to do these episodes, that comment, that like, that subscribe, that watch our videos. You are all part of the Model Aviator family. We appreciate you for making Model Aviator what it is and what it will become. Take care of yourselves. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week. And we'll be flying something, I promise. Right, Piper? Say bye. You gonna say bye? She's pissed. She just wants to eat.